I remember Biden telling the nation that if Israel goes into Rafah, he's going to stop supporting Israel. But yet, the White House has said there's no policy change, even after the Israeli government killed 45 Palestinian civilians living in tents with an airstrike.
Global condemnation for its continued attacks in Rafah. One attack in particular has more and more people calling for U.S. leaders to stop sending weapons and aid to Israel. Israel called the attack a tragic mishap, but has also suggested some of the injuries and deaths may be the result of weapons stored nearby by Hamas. National correspondent Christine Frizzell brings us new reaction.
That's the Israeli government's go-to defense. It was an accident, or it was Hamas. You can't keep using those excuses and expect people to still believe it.
Even in a war filled with horrifying scenes, the horrors of Israel's attack on a refugee camp for displaced people Sunday have been particularly gruesome and disturbing. Those on the ground describing the scene in Rafah as hell on earth. At least 50 killed and 250 injured, according to Gaza's health ministry, in a war where officials say many are...
Wow, 50 killed and 250 injured. That is insane. And those people who get injured may end up dying because of the lack of medical care. The Israeli government knew what would happen and still went through with the strike on the refugee camp. That's just sickening.
Many are now dying of disease and malnutrition.
There's a moral cost to the number of civilians that are dying inside of Gaza. But when you continue to withhold food and aid from the people, that ultimately makes these terrorist causes stronger.
The latest attack bringing blowback to President Biden, who has largely supported Israel, vocally, financially, and militarily.
I made it clear that if they go into Rafah, they haven't gone on Rafah yet. If they go into Rafah, I'm not supplying the weapons that have been used historically to deal with Rafah, to deal with the cities, to deal with that problem.
Progressive lawmakers calling for accountability. Congresswoman Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez and Congressman Greg Casar both calling for President Biden to suspend military aid to Israel.
We're not going to forget in November.
Suspend military aid. Biden is never going to truly support something like that. All he's going to do is continue to defend the Israeli government.
Are we?
Others involved in the uncommitted movement to send Biden a message at the ballot box warning his support could cost him his re-election.
The International Court of Justice just ruled that the Israeli government must stop its invasion of Rafah. But President Biden says what's happening in Gaza is not a genocide.
Congresswoman Rashida Tlaib's speech at a conference which featured other speakers linked to the Popular Front for the Liberation of Palestine, designated by the State Department as a foreign terrorist organization, has drawn criticism from her colleagues. Congressman Mike Lawler posting on X she should be removed from Congress immediately. The U.S. State Department says at this point, the attacks in Rafah do not rise to the level of a full-scale military operation and therefore did not cross a